So I'm gonna put this website in the chat. If you guys could go there. And we will start from there. I'm not gonna share the I'm not gonna be able to share the Chrome because if I share the Chrome, I cannot share my presentation. There are two different windows.
Would you repeat that? You're not gonna be able to share what?
So what I'm doing right now is if you guys could go to that website and put in the chat. And then I'm gonna share my presentation.
Oh, do you want to do like a split screen?
It's fine to go to the other one separately. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a chance to get there while I start the presentation. Full screen mode. So you can see, you can hear me, I know, but can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm gonna make the screen full screen. Okay. Yes.
So this is what they're saying.
Okay, so my background is as a teacher. So for me, the data or the research I done is mainly in education. And the data I collect usually is through, and particularly for STEM, is through the GIS software that I use in my environmental science class. So, which is why you're gonna see a bit of mapping going on. And I wanted to let you see the city of Pasadena to see the area of data that you have available. And what I want you to get out of this, so I want to prelude it. What I want you to get out of this is not necessarily that you have to understand every piece of data, but more so I want you to understand that you use your skill to transfer the information that's already available out there into something that is communicable. And that's what the main goal of this presentation is. A lot of time we do a lot of research and we have a lot of very technical information, but if we can't communicate it in a way that the public audience understands it, then it's a little harder for us to kind of capture funding, capture any kind of interest in the project, right? So in front of you, you can see a little bit of a map, and this itself is just a representative one. Okay, so this is a map of the different neighborhoods that you get. Say if I do the city of Oakland and surrounding areas, Northern California, anyone ever been or a resident of or ever visited Northern California, particularly East Bay, Berkeley, Oakland, that kind of neighborhood? Or have relatives who might know? Yeah, so this is the area that captures Oakland, which is a big chunk of space with borderlines neighborhoods. So Piedmont itself is technically not in the map as a city, right? So this map allows people to understand the different neighborhoods at Oakland, and everything is called Oakland, but it's not one Oakland. So I'm gonna go through this the topics of, well, what is GIS? What is its benefits? Why do we have it in the classroom? And then different resources that I use for the GIS curriculum. And we're gonna skip the exercise and demonstration because, well, I'm not here to teach you guys how to do GIS. I'm here to show you guys the research. So what is GIS? The long term for that, the long way of calling that is Geographic Information System. It's a computer-based tool that allows you to create, manipulate, and analyze information based on location. So everything is a location-based. So the data that you get in GIS and the data that you export in GIS, meaning export, meaning bring it to someone else, those are all data that is referencing location, geographic location, hence the name geographic information system. And it makes it possible for us to take all different kinds of geographic information like maps, right? Photos sometimes. So when you go to Google, let's say if you go to Google and you look up a location. Nowadays, you have this thing called the aerial view or a street view, right? So all of that is the embed information. So it will take the JPEG and it'll embed it into the GIS data system. And that's what you're seeing, like the export of it in different layers. We will talk about that in a little bit. Okay. And then you have aerial photographs, satellite images, GPS, right? You use the map in Google. That is very much GIS based. Okay. And then any kind of table information. So when you do this kind of mapping, there is a way for people to delineate the tables because Oakland has 5 different area codes, not area codes, zip codes. And so they're delineating tables of coordinates and where each zip code begins and ends. And that's how they generate this map. So very much table is a kind of data that is used. So you can see here, right? This is not California per se, it's Cambridge, Massachusetts, right? So you can see. And what kind of information do you see that they're trying to convey here? Looking at the legend, what do you think they're trying to convey here?
Districts.
Okay, possible districts. You can see some kind of road also, right? But what stands out to you? If you just look at the plain map. Any guess? And if you want to chime in too, no pressure. If you have a hard time seeing the legend, let me know. I can try to zoom in. Yeah, what stands out? Use the legends if you right? If you have trouble understanding just a visual that's just laid out, right? Every map includes a legend because without a legend, the map means essentially nothing.
Bicycle routes.
Bicycle routes, okay, good. So that's why you see the street levels, right? And then there's one thing that really stands out to me as far as my job, my role is concerned. What do you think that is? Knowing my background, what do you think would stand out to me the most? What color, if you can? Public schools, right? Because, well, I am after all a public school teacher, right? There's not college and university in this map because that's not what they're interested in, right? They're interested in what are the public facilities available. And what they're trying to see is, well, compared to the density of buildings, look at all those orange blocks, right? Those are buildings. How concentrated are the schools and the police stations? So that has to do with safety of the city, right? It has to do with the amount of education that each group receives, right? If you look at the city of Cambridge. For this, if you look at the map, let me go ahead and do annotation. Okay. If you look at the map here, right? This is in kilometers. And sorry, GIS tend to be in the metric system and not the American system. So this is in kilometers. So if you stretch this map from left to right, what would you expect to be the number of kilometers in this that the city has? You can use your spacing on the hand as a scale. And you're free to come up and measure too. Anyone have a number? Just throw it out there. How many kilometers do you think from left to right? 6. Yeah. I counted a little more than 6, but yes, roughly 6 kilometers, right? 6 kilometers is not big of a city, isn't it? Right? So one mile is 1.6 kilometers. So 6, we're talking about at most 5 miles. Yeah, the city of Cambridge in Massachusetts. That's the city where MIT and Harvard is. And if you guys ever want to transfer it to that school or those schools, it's 5 miles across. And look at how many public schools there is, right? Compared to how many police stations there is. Think about that, right? So the safety of the city can be inferred from just this data on the map that you have. By representing a city like this, with the different legends, that's it. Do you let the map speak for itself? People can interpret it as they wish with the map, right? So research allows us to do this, right? Let me go ahead and clear the drawings, and we're going to go to the next map. I would encourage anyone who can to let us know. You can also unmute and speak. You can also type in the chat. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the next one.
So I could.
Yeah.
So I would say there's 2 ways to interpret that now.
Yes.
The city is so safe that there's only 1 necessary police station,
Right.
or, I mean, well, then that's the most obvious one, right? Or there is such a lack of funding that they can't afford to put many police stations.
Now, knowing that it's the city where Harvard and MIT is, which case scenario would you cycle, right? That's the background information that data doesn't tell you. But at the same time, the other thing that you look at is, can someone do a quick count of the number of public schools there is, and compare that to if you come from the city of Pasadena, do you know how many schools are there in Pasadena? High school and elementary schools included. Right, we have definitely a bigger city than Cambridge, but how many schools do we have compared to Cambridge?
I think there is about 17.
You count it. You're way ahead of me. Okay, let's say 18. How many schools are there in Pasadena itself? So we've got kind of 7 or 8 elementary, 2 maybe at most middle, and the reason why there's 2 middle is because there's 4 high schools that stretches to 6th grade, right? So if you count the continuation school, there's 4 high schools. No, not continuation school, sorry, Rose City doesn't count. So Rose City is one of the 2 so-called middle school. So it will be 7 plus 2 plus 4. That is 13 schools. For an entire city of Pasadena, that's about 5 times the size. Right? So think about that, right? If you want to make a comparison, a lot of time maps help to do this, right? Let me compare my city to their city. That's a way to do it. Okay. So, and with that comparison, sometimes you can make political decisions, right? So it helps people inform politically. And then what do you think this is? It's a little harder to see.
What does the key say?
Okay, Barack Obama, I think that will tell you what this map is about. And it can tell you the frame of reference for, what the map, when the map was. So Barack Obama is all the 50 shades of blue, we call it. And then the 50 shades of red. Do you know who was the one running opposed him?
No.
This is, I think, 2012 during his re-election. Anyone a history buff here? Recent history too, 2012. Was it about Obama versus? We don't care about the loser, don't we? Do we? That's okay. Okay, the point of the map is not, winner versus loser, but you can look at the counties, right? The counties are those little square blocks, right? So how many counties voted red and how many counties voted blue, right? If you look at just by sheer area, who should have won? And again, this is not a political statement, right? This is a data question. If you just look at sheer area, who would have won?
Was it one?
Yes, I think so.
So,
Right, the red should have won, right? So, if given the scenario is by area, red should have won, but what happened historically? Obama got the second term, right? So why is it? Well, if you look also at the coloring, how many states do you have that is dark red? Like almost entirely dark red. Right, because we work by electoral system, so it's a state. How many states can you count with dark red, like almost entirely dark red, like 90% of it? I count it on the finger, the order of the fingers of one hand, right? 4 or 5. Okay, how many states are all like blue, like the darker shades of blue? It's definitely more than 5, right? For the really, really dark blue and then middle dark blue, right? So that is why, right? A map is not just, okay, these are the colors, right? These are the legends. It's also the density of the map, right? Density is usually represented by the shade. So maps can tell you a lot of stories. Colors, I'm not saying it's not important, right? But at the same time, sometimes you have color and then you have the shades, right? How deep a color is represents the population density there. And so together they tell a more prevalent story than the story of just, okay, how many reds are blue, right? So that's another way of thinking using the map. Okay, but again, I'm not using this for political purposes, although politicians may, but the map can tell a story without going into too much context. And then I'm gonna skip over this too much. If anyone wants, and anyone wants to talk about their Irish origins, I'm happy to furnish this presentation. Okay, but otherwise, I'm gonna skip over this map for a little bit. Okay, so far, what do you see are the characteristics that we've seen with GIS? Well, in the software, you've got shape, colors, and now the other thing is layers. Okay, the shapes are all done by something called a polygon. So if you are taking math, or if you took math in high school, polygons are essentially geometric shapes, right? Well, these ones don't look like geometric shapes with like all the straight edges, but in geographic software context, they call these polygons. So anytime you have a shape, it is a polygon. So if you got, use the annotation again. If you got a shape that is this, right? It's a very, very rude, crude shape. But if you got this shape, that's a polygon, right? So you got another shape, polygon. Whatever you can draw out that has a beginning and the end at the same point. So you start with one point and you end with that point, that's called polygon. So you can have like this. As long as you end back where you start, that's a polygon. Okay. So in GIS terms, you do not need to have pretty straight drawings. Okay, you can draw anything as long as you start and end at the same point, and that's polygon. You can have a very nice drawing, But if you don't end up at the same point, that is not a problem. Okay. So that's the context, and then, oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, there's a tab. Oh, sorry. Guess when you do one, the other one just jumps. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you got polygons, you got points, and you got lines, right? So in this context, let's say if I do lines like the red ones, what do you think those lines would be?
Interstates or rivers.
Rivers, right? Anything that has a stream that flows, right? So the polygons just represents the state borders, right? But if you want to draw rivers, you have to draw more lines, right? So rivers are represented by lines in traditional maps, so are they on GIS. Now, my question here then is, do you think the red lines and those polygons were drawn at the same time? Who takes art here? Who has like art background? Using what you know about artistic perspective or rendering, do you think the polygons of the arcs are drawn at the same time? Right? If they are, you wouldn't have the red on top, right? So which means who was drawn first or which was drawn first? The polygon, right? And then red over it. This is why the layers matter. In GIS, we get layers, right? The lowest layers are the flat surface that you draw the polygons on. Then you add another layers and you draw all your rivers, and then another layer you draw all your mountains. That's how this works. Okay, so mapping works very much in a linear step. Question.
Is there a specific order in adding those layers? Like let's say like, I don't know, let's start with mountains first, or after doing the polygon part, or the rivers or cities, or not buildings.
Good question. So in GIS, the only thing that is, and it's not even required, but that is traditionally first, is the basic map, right? If you don't have, let's say if you want to focus on the city of Pasadena, right? You have to import the background map of Pasadena. You're not going to draw from scratch the city of Pasadena every single time. So that's why it dictates that you've got to have the city of Pasadena foundation out first. And then you can draw anything else like population measures, right? Or any kind of governmental regulation layers, right? So those layers are up to you in what you're trying to achieve, right? But the basic, the very rudimentary geographic stuff has to go there first. Otherwise, what are you drawing it on, right? So, did I answer your question? Okay. So, but to the reader, when you have an output, what you see, you can predict right away, like you did during this person's process, which layer did they draw first, right? So you can see from just the map itself. And sometimes you might need a little bit of art rendering background, but it's not always that you need it. And then earlier I talked about data table, right? So the data table here, the coding color is exactly based on the data table. So this person, what they did was, besides the state, right? What they did was they looked at the total population, right? And they defined the color based on this population. So if you can make it a range. So if a state has a population of 500,000 to 1 million, right? It's another color. From 1 million to 2 million, that's another color, right? So that's the other way that you can translate tables into colors, right? So it may seem kind of rudimentary idea of classification of categorization, but when you put it in a mapping software, right, which is part of your communicative research, it becomes more of something that everyone can look at and understand. It becomes a more universal language, right? If you look at those numbers, is that a universal language to you? I know we're STEM majors, but do you read those numbers and be like, oh, I know exactly what it should be? Who can tell me that? I can't. I look at those numbers like, it doesn't mean anything. But once you put it into colors, they're starting to have meaning. This is why STEM needs the A and it should become C. That's my argument. But anyhow, let's continue. So what platforms are used if you want to do GIS? This doesn't have to be in the classroom. It could be like government office, like the city of Pasadena, the data that you just saw. So, well, if you see the GIS packages, it usually comes into the software called ArcGIS. ArcGIS is the software, and if you go on most of the campus computers, especially in the e-building, if you have class in the e-building, you're gonna see that all the computers are preloaded with ArcGIS. It could be called ArcMap, App Viewer, but that's all part of the ArcGIS package, right? And so the software has these tools: ArcGIS Mobile, ArcGIS Desktop, ArcGIS Online, and ArcGIS Server. If you ever take a geography class at PCC, which I highly recommend, I don't teach it, that's why me promoting it is not self-promotion. Okay, if you ever take a geography class at PCC, they give you a free license for 1 year to have GIS downloaded or even do it online on your own computer. And the class is 1 semester long, so the other semester you can do what you want with it. That license is there for a whole year. But in any case, there's this software made by the company called EFRI, E-F-R-I. The company is located in Redlands. Anyone knows Redlands? Right? Just a little bit off of Riverside, right? So very local to us, right? And they host a lot of conferences yearly for any users. They have specific one for educators. So I usually like to go to that one. So any industries that work with the GIS, well, half of these are like environmental, right? Environmental and natural. And then sales, you can see how GIS can be made for sales, right? If you're trying to sell, I don't know, a particular medical device, right? For diabetes patient. Well, guess what? You're gonna be interested in the map where it outlines diabetes patients concentration in the city of, I don't know, Culver City or San Fernando, right? You would be more interested in selling it on those areas. And then so say you go to Riverside or Redlands where there's no concentration of diabetic patients, right? If you're a medical or pharmaceutical salesperson, you probably want to care about those maps more, right? So sales and marketing is one thing. And then you can see the federal use of it, right? The political thing. If you look at state management system of water, right? They use GIS. State management system of electricity, right? Gas, natural resources. Sometimes natural resources and federal, state, and local governments go together because they do generally are up to the same thing, right? So those are the good uses. And so the benefits include maps that are interactive, right? What I just did with you guys right now, right? In the classroom, I have a conversation with my students. What can you get from this map? And if you want this information, what would you do to that map? That kind of conversation, right? It generates a very useful conversation one-on-one. And so because of that, you can see all of these uses in it in different fields, right? And it's a skills. That's more than anything, mapping is a skill that I want students to be able to, just like how I'm communicating to you today. My main purpose is that you get a skill, then you can move to any industry with that skill, right? So just like you did your research, you do your research, do you have to go to STEM? Eventually, not necessarily, right? You want to go to STEM because that's where the money is, but you don't have to, right? You could go to another field if you have a research skill. Same thing with math. Okay, so I'm gonna skip the rest of it a little bit more because it's more pertaining to the technical aspects and the environmental aspects, which I teach. I care about it, but I'm not gonna belabor you with those points. And then if you have the license, it can be done in online. You don't need to worry about waiting 8 hours for software to install, right? And then if you have something easy to grasp, something that you can click, you're gonna get more people participation. And that's why I love to teach that class, because I get my student participation and I get my fame and fortune in the school through the easy software to use. Of course, it comes at an expense, you have to purchase license, but that's a school business model. And then how does it change the world of STEM, especially considering that you guys are students, you guys are learning STEM, how does it help? Well, there's one thing that I want to highlight out of here is interdisciplinary given, right? We talked about how many fields it affects. We talk about critical thinking about space, right? If you look at this space versus that space, if you look at, well, Cambridge versus Pasadena, just from earlier example, you know, what space do you think is a safe space, right? So that's something that you can interpret from before. But the main highlight I want to get from this slide is me as an instructor, I'm a project-based instructor, which means I focus a lot on this thing called PBL. So here's how problem-based learning for me, I define it as project-based learning, same idea. Okay, you pose a problem and it creates a project for students, right? And if the student, you pose several problems and you say, hey, I have 10 problems here, you choose. Because when the students get to choose which problem they want to work on, they take ownership over it. And so I don't know if you guys resonate with that. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Okay. But if you see yourself being able to take charge of something, right? If you're able to solve a problem and you choose the problem that you're passionate about, then that becomes an authorship, right? You become the owner of the problem. You own that problem. And so being able to produce maps that could suggest solutions, that becomes a problem-based learning or project-based learning. You make a project and it becomes yours and yours only. And I think that is where I think I want you guys to consider in the future, right? Wherever you go to a STEM field, you want to stand out. And how do you stand out? By finding a project on your own that you can do uniquely from everyone else. You might have the same skills as everyone else, but that skills apply to your project. Okay. And then I'm gonna skip this. This is a political thing but here are the resources for me as a teacher, right? So one of the things that I love about Esri, the company, because after all, they own this software. They create some lesson plans that I can use for my curriculum. And then lesson plans create modules that I can directly tabulate, compile data. And this is where my research is, right? My STEM research is about how students get motivated by certain features of this software. And so for me, that would be very helpful if I can compile the data on student participation, on student success, right? And then student process, any challenges in the meantime, right? That it will report every single step when you're doing the project, when I assign a project and I give it to any one of you. Whatever you do in the meantime, it will track. All of your steps I will track. And I will be able to go back and say, okay, Charlene might have, missed this step, or Michelle might have missed that step, and how can I go back and help you with those steps? And that's what I love about the software. And then the other thing is, if you're not sure, like let's say this presentation today, you have no clue what I'm talking about, which I really hope not. If you have no clue, well, there's online tutorials with videos that you can go back and you can learn on your own. And that's what I truly love about the flexibility of teaching GIS. And here are the resources. I believe if I have a few minutes, I'm gonna go through the city of Pasadena and show you. Would that work? Okay. I'm gonna go through the city of three. I only need three, and then I'll take questions if we still have time. So let's go to the city of Pasadena website, and I'm gonna show you this. Oh yeah, that'll stop my own screen share. So if you turn to my other self, I'm sharing with you the city of Pasadena. Okay. If you look through this website, right? Does anyone have anything that they might be interested in learning about city of Pasadena or researching? Do you have any? Like any question that you can come up with about Pasadena? It could be a cultural question too, right? How many Indian tribes are there? What is the percentage that remains in the city of Pasadena? Right? So if you click on that, right? You get GIS foundation maps, right? And then it has them in layers, you can see that. So if I just download this layer and I put it into GIS software, which unfortunately I think this only my computer has, because I think no one's at home is taking the GIS class, right? If you are, let me know. But unfortunately, only this computer has it, and it takes a long time to load. So I'm not going to go through that torture. I am going to reference these, right? Look at this, right? Any kind of historical landmarks, right? National Register, historic monuments, landmark buildings, right? Indigenous tribes, they will have to. Depends on city. This one may not. Okay. So if you are interested in a particular question, right? How well preserved a certain landmark is, you can download a layer, and then you can push that into your GIS foundation map. It becomes a new layer. So let's say if you want to say, I want to find out all of the different historic landmarks, right? Or even if you're anyone an architecture fan or interior design. Architecture, interior design. You might know about green and green, right? So we have lots and lots of green and green remaining or remnants in our country, in our city, right? Because they were after our two brothers who worked exclusively in Pasadena for a long time. So if you're interested in that, if you have any particular need, or your question is, well, where can I find the different green and green collections in Pasadena that still remain to today? You can click on this layer and give you all the different pinpoint locations. So here is an example of how you can use people's research, right? You don't even have to go out there and like, I'm gonna go to this museum and try to find, and I'm gonna go to the Gamble House and find, right? You don't even have to do the work yourself. If you don't want to, if you want to, that's great. But if you don't want to, here's the hard work that people from City of Pasadena put together. And then you take it and you upload it into your layer, give them a little bit of credit, obviously. And voila, you have a presentation, right, to the public. So that's all I wanted to conclude with, right? So one of the things that I want to emphasize is your fear of STEM should not reside in the idea of having to collect data, right? If you're afraid that your knowledge is not sufficient to collect data, STEM does not necessitate that you have to go and collect data for yourself, right? You can look for sources online where data is provided, and as long as you understand the data that people are putting together, you can make it communicable to the public. Most likely in a visual manner is the best way. Mapping being one of them. That's STEM. And that's all for my presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, 1 minute over. But anyone have any questions? I'm saying that. Thanks, Michelle, for the applause.
I always find it interesting how STEM is not just, so limited. I think most people think STEM is very limited.
Yes. So people are afraid of like, not necessarily research, but collecting data, gathering data. Some people are even afraid of organizing data. Well, here's data that already collected and organized.
Very good.
Any questions about the presentations, GS in general? Any questions about my classes?
So you teach here and
The position I have here is non-credit. So I had advocated the geography classes, but the students who are taking it will probably be taking it BCC. I will be teaching the non-credit geography. So that's still not self-promoting.
thank you so much.
No problem.
You're very insightful.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Yes.
And then should you have any questions, I think the first slide, which I'm happy to share, has my information, and you're very welcome to contact me.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. So, have a good day, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Study lots, but also relax. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. You're very welcome, Michelle. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Did you have any questions? Because I know it's not as easy to ask in a crowd,
Yeah.
and no pressure.
I'm
Mhm.
but, and I also agree with the STEAM part, and, but I feel like I'd be able to use this application. Well, although my study is like more on the theoretical side, I still like everything about space. So is there a way, like,
To do this in space.
yeah, like maybe mapping, like planets like Venus or Mars or something like that?
That's a very interesting question. The short answer to your question is no. Okay, but I will give you a longer answer because the no is not because there isn't a way to do it, but the fact is we just don't have any ability to capture space information at the moment. Right? On Earth, we have landscape, we have topography, right, which you might be familiar with if you're astronomy part of it. But out in space, we just don't have the data collection mechanism to say, hey, I'm gonna put a map together, a foundation map of space. We have so-called a universe map, right? But that doesn't tell us about the topography, and which most of the time that's what map is good for. But the good news is, right, Hubble was, for a long time, was the great thing, right? But recently, we've got this Maxwell telescope. I don't know if you know. The Maxwell, James Webb, yeah, James Webb, yeah. Or James Webb, not Maxwell, but James something, right? Which has data, and I have the app on my phone. It has a much more detailed look at our space, so we can collect much more information at higher, pixels. So when we can do that, and eventually if we can do that like for every single bit of space around us, at least it can be right? It can't go too far away. But if we can do that with every single planet in our galaxy, we now have a way to map space. And that, I want to say it's in the making, but maybe in your lifetime versus mine. So that's this.
It would be cool.
And hopefully you'll be part of that project.
And you can also be, you're artistic.
But that gives me another point. Maybe in spring you can join the other workshop. In spring, I'm doing one on astronomy.
Yeah,
So
in April.
it's in the making.
A workshop or
Like not a workshop, like a one piece, a talk.
oh,
Yeah. So it's more like an update in astronomy.
okay.
And my background is environmental science, and then I'm teaching physics. So I'm teaching environmental science using GIS at my school for one section. And then I have 4 other sections because I teach at high school. So the other 4 sections are physics. There's a high demand for physics teaching.
Yeah.
So if you don't, and again, no pressure. If you don't feel like astrophysics research or working for NASA is the way to go ultimately, which it should be, right? Then come back to teach high school. They always need a physics teacher.
Job security.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem. I'm gonna turn this off. Yeah. And the recording software.
Yeah.